So I just got out of The Woman in the Yard. Let's talk about it. My apologies for how I'm about to butcher this man's name. It's directed by Dwayne Collette Sarah. He directed The Orphan. Stars Danielle Deadwyler. Danielle Deadwyler is an incredible actress. In my personal opinion, she should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actress for The Piano Lesson, but Netflix put all of their money on Emilia Perez. Forgive me, I have a cough that will not go away. So this is about a woman named Ramona Harris and her two children, Taylor and Annie. Ramona is grieving the death of her husband, the father of her children. They were in a horrible car accident. She walked away with a broken leg. He unfortunately did not survive. As many of us know through experience, grief can be paralyzing, and that's kind of where we find her. She's watching a video of her and her husband on loop, and the power's off. The kids don't really have much to eat in the house. Bills are stacking up. And, the oldest son is trying to keep things together the best he can. But there is definitely resentment in, his spirit for his mom not doing what she's supposed to do. All of a sudden, there's this woman in the yard. This woman right here, dressed for a funeral, sitting in a chair. And they're trying to figure out, okay, where did this woman come from? They assume she's just lost and confused, maybe from the nursing home down the way. So she goes out and asks her, are you lost? Are you confused? And she's very cryptic, but seems to know a little bit more than she's telling. And that's where it gets a little creepy. Real talk, movie's a dud. It's just boring. It's 88 minutes long, and even that felt a little too long because of how thin this plot is. It's almost like they ran out of ideas halfway through. It moves like a short story. Like, this would make a good short story if it had direction. But really, it just they ran out of ideas, and they were just trying to pull from different stories. A little bit of Poltergeist, a little bit of The Shining, a little bit of Coraline. Danielle Deadwyler's performance is definitely the highlight here, and the oldest son, I believe the actor's name is Peyton. Great performances from both of them. This really does hinge on performances because the plot, again, is just so thin and so weak. This movie is just straight up boring. I was so bored. Dear Blumhouse, what is wrong? The last good movie they had was Speak No Evil. And that was the first good movie since Megan. That studio has been miss after miss after miss after miss for the last, almost 2 years. Good grief, why can't y'all get it together? It's not really scary. There are some, jump scares here and there. It's going for psychological thriller. We're talking about, grief and death and self-unaliving and whatnot. And, a little bit of PTSD here and there, and how our mind can play tricks on us, and just, the battle when you're dealing with that kind of heaviness and that kind of grief, and the battle that you ensue mentally just to get through the day. That's essentially what this movie is about, if I had to sum it up without giving everything away. The ending was such a letdown. It didn't hit as hard as I think it should have, because there was nothing that really led up to that point. There was nothing in her character, nothing in the plot, nothing in the movements here and there that gave us the idea that she was that down and out. Other than, she's grieving and she's dealing with the heaviness of grief and she's struggling to function. That's just normal. That's normal grieving. It doesn't really go beyond that to the extreme of where the ending takes us. I just went ahead and looked up the writer because that's the biggest issue here, is the writing. It is the plot. The plot is just so thin, so weak, so stretched out to the max. And then they just had to add on an extra 15 minutes. Apparently, the dude, his name is Sam, and this is his debut as a feature film screenwriter. So congratulations to him. But yeah, this story, this concept needed someone who was a little more seasoned in that area. Perfect director for this kind of movie. Perfect director. He's a visionary. Visually, the movie's beautiful. There are a lot of things that are happening with shadows and angles and mirrors and reflection. A lot of symbolism here and there. Some irony within the way the little girl writes the letter R, and it's backwards because we're dealing with, somebody looking at themselves, a reflection, if you will. And so there are a lot of things here that worked visually, but the writer and the director were just unequally yoked. The Blumhouse Productions motto is great idea, poor execution. The entire movie just fell flat. It was just so flat. I'm not even disappointed. I'm just pissed off. The thing with psychological thrillers is you have to pay attention to the details. You have to kind of listen very carefully and watch very closely because everything matters. The problem is there's no details. There are no details. Except the letter R. That's it. Look, I can't tell you what to do. You might enjoy it. I didn't.